All right, y'all, so let's talk about this. Perro versus Jarell Miller. As we know, this era of time, all of these boxers that were once on top of the game, well, the one that's still on top on the heavyweight division is Alexander Usyk. He's speaking highly of Anthony Joshua. We've yet to see what AJ looks like since his loss to Dubois, which was the 4th round knockout. We've seen, Tyson Fury. We just saw Deontay Wilder. Andy Ruiz is still trying to get fights. Case in point, outside of Moses Atama and Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois is, Fabio's opponent. And looking at him, looking at who's still there, the handful of names that are there, it's not a lot of excitement. It's really not a lot of. It's really not a lot going on. To me, I feel like Moses Atama, at least for me, Moses Atama and Fabio Wardley, to me, they look like the more entertaining fighters out of everybody else that's out there. That's after Usyk and AJ, and we'll see what AJ has left in the tank whenever he gets back in the ring. This fight, everybody's talking about how many punches around he throws. Jarell Miller, he threw 1,000 punches in one fight. Yeah, okay. First off, let me just point something out to you guys. Okay, let's not forget that he got beat up by Daniel Dubois. Let's not forget that this guy's 37 years old now. In terms of them saying this is the best shape he's been in, let me just point some things out. For the level that he's at, if that's entertaining to you, that he has fights with people that's C and D level, and they can throw a lot of punches and just go back and forth, okay, then fine. Then I guess you'll enjoy watching him fight. But if you understand, he's not even what he used to be. I watched a guy, 305 pounds, who can barely knock anybody out. He's walking and literally he's walking as if he's about to go to the bathroom and get a fresh towel, or go to see if his toothpaste still in the drawer, or no head movement, nothing. Just literally walking up to the guy. The guy's just backing up. This guy Perro's not a good fighter. This is why Jarell Miller made it his point to explain why he was fighting Perro and who he wanted but couldn't get. It was just another fight. So when people are saying fight of the year and all, okay, whatever. I'm not really here to talk about the fight. It was just another fight. When Eddie Hearn was asked about making the fight, he says the fight with Jarell Miller, the fight that makes more sense to him is in America, is Jarell Miller, Deontay Wilder. We've all said that years ago. Michael Hunter is a guy that's out there, another black American heavyweight, and it's like none of these guys, even with Jermaine Franklin, like they could have did something in America a long time ago. Nobody's thinking to do anything with black American fighters. The black American fighters don't seem to want to do anything other than talk. Jarell Miller's been calling out Deontay Wilder for the longest time, disrespected him, called his girl a thought and all of this and that. And, well, you see the mess that happened with that. And it really just comes down to if Deontay Wilder wants to fight Jarell Miller and stop making excuses. Now, me personally, When I said, I gave you guys the layout and said the easiest guys for this guy to come back against, right? Not guaranteeing that he wins, but the easiest guys would be, first off, the guy he just fought, Derek Chisora, and his name was the first one I said. He chose to fight 238 first. So then he fights Derek. But afterwards, like I said, Dillian White, Joe Joyce. Simply because if he can't beat them and he loses to any one of them, then why are you still fighting? It's obvious you need money. It's obvious you're not financially where you need to be. Because if you can't beat those guys, you're just going to have a bunch of junk fights and just put abuse to your body and your brain, further damage whatever's already done to you. For what? And the money is not even going to be close to what you at least once was getting. So that is a smart plan, to where if those 3 fights lead to him versus AJ for the lottery ticket fight, that's what that was. But in terms of as a fighter, and especially with, a guy claiming that he'll fight Moses Itama, okay, cool then. If you'll fight Moses Itama, you claim you would. I don't believe him not 1 second, but you claim you'll fight him, cool, then why not fight Jarell Miller? Y'all don't like each other, right? That gives you more reason to want to inflict some damage to him. Simple. So this is what I honestly think would happen. Wilder is too freaking skinny. He doesn't have the legs to move, to create the distance, the patience. He doesn't have the timing. He doesn't have that ability to fight a disciplined fight. Keep that jab in his face. Just keep it in his face. Keep it to his body. Keep it in his face, right? Movement, angles, lateral movement. He doesn't have the IQ for that. He doesn't do that. He just walks straight back and just walks back, walk back, walk back. Now, Jarell Miller has slow, fat feet. Deontay Wilder has no footwork, and neither does Jarell Miller. So this would be a thing of Wilder just walking straight back and jabbing here and there. Jarell Miller's going to lunge in at some point, and he's going to try to wear Deontay Wilder down by constantly pinning him to the ropes, putting his weight on him, and just throwing punches. The thing about Jarell Miller, and this is why I'm not impressed with the 100 punches, there's nothing behind those punches. He's literally just doing this. So I could sit here right now and just do this shit, right? You just count to 100 and do it before 3 minutes. This is what he's literally doing. He's just throwing arm punches. That's all he's doing. He's not putting any hurt on anybody. No pain. That's what he's trying to impress you with. Just the movement. So, if anything, he's just getting a workout. With this kind of opponent, well, I think he just pretty much wear Deontay Wilder down. Now, unless Deontay hit him with something that make him worried about just coming in recklessly, I think Jarell Miller would pretty much wear Deontay Wilder down. And Deontay Wilder, his timing and his punch selection, it would not be effective. Jarell Miller has a big, huge head. He's a fat dude, and Deontay Wilder, skinny, tries to land the perfect punch, and he'll lose rounds. See, Jarell Miller could simply just go in there, lean on him, and do all this little shit like he's doing. That's all he's doing. This is all Jarell Miller. Jarell Miller is throwing punches as if he's just throwing drills in his head. Just punching, moving. Just keep moving, keep moving. You get tired, don't stop. Just keep moving. That's what he's doing. Nothing behind those shots. Absolutely nothing behind those shots. And for me, if the fight happens, it happens. But again, all I was saying was for Deontay to fight people where he had the best chance of not losing. Those are the 3 guys I selected. But as far as him trying to stay relevant, trying to avoid losing to anybody, he probably won't take the fight. But even if he does take the fight, cool, whatever. But what if he turns this fight down and say, hey, you know what? Let's try to work something out with Dylan. My thing is this: if he's fighting to show he's still here and think he can do it. Okay, cool. I believe that his ego, in terms of his ego, if he thinks with his ego, he'll take the fight. If he thinks about his future and realizing he can't lose another fight, and understanding that the easier route can help him to not lose, to where if it does lead to AJ, then his plan worked. What if he goes in there and say, fuck it, I'll fight him? He should have been fought Jarell Miller. So if he goes in there now and say, I'll fight him now, okay, cool. Whichever direction he goes. All I'm saying is I think that it's over with all that huge payday that he's trying to look for. Because, for one, he's washed up, he's done. Jarell Miller's not even the same fighter. Listen, Jarell Miller at his best, he was nothing but a contender, never a champion. And pretty much that was always his claim to fame, is that I'm a big man that can throw 300, throw 100 punches around. Okay, right, but he can barely knock anybody out. He's a volume puncher. But that style that he has, I just think he'll be a problem for Wilder because he's so damn fat and then he's short. So Wilder has to reach, because Wilder's not smart enough. Wilder doesn't have footwork. Wilder doesn't know how to stay on the outside. Give a stiff, quick snap jab, stay off that line, move, lateral movement, pop, pop. Just the most important fight punch of the whole fight being the jab. Work off the jab. Jab, jab, left hand, rip to the body, pow, slide around. He never does that kind of shit. That's not who he is. So it's like you could tell Deontay Wilder how to beat Jarell Miller and he still won't do it. He just doesn't have it in him. So I think that's a fight that Jarell Miller would win. But regardless to what would happen, it's up to Deontay to take the fight, which I don't think he wants to fight Jarell Miller. And I think he wants to try to stay undefeated and take the route that I said. I don't think that he sees Jarell Miller the same way that he see a Dillian White at this stage in Dillian's career, or even a Joe Joyce. I don't know. Either way, I'm not guaranteeing that he beats any of these guys. But the whole point is all of those guys are washed up, including Wilder. So you can forget him fighting Moses Atama. Because I don't see anybody saying I'll pay you $50 billion to fight Moses Atama. Moses will annihilate him probably one round. There'll probably be a first round knockout. The Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois fight, Jared Anderson is no longer on the card. So with him being out, I don't know if that particular fight is canceled with Jared Anderson, or if his opponent is just facing a different opponent. So I don't know what's going on with that. But and the reason I brought that up is because Jared Anderson is also another guy who got beaten up pretty badly by Bacoli, and he had one fight that since then, and he didn't look so good in that fight. So my whole thing is the heavyweight landscape is just, it's like there's just names there, there's just people there. But in terms of the opponents, the quality fights that you thought you were going to get one time, or assumed would be quality fights, you look around, man, it's not a whole lot going on in the heavyweight division. But the question is, do Deontay Wilder want to fight Jarell Miller? And if not, if he's not going to fight Jarell Miller, then he definitely might as well do what I'm saying. Right? Just think about it. He might as well. Because, unless, what is he going to do? Go fight another guy ranked 200 and something? That's not going to help anything. The point, I'm not concerned about helping him fill his pockets any other fight. I'm not concerned about protecting him. I'm saying, for me, that will be the wisest choice for Deontay. This is where he needs to put his ego aside. When he shows he can't even compete with Zhang, when he shows he can't compete with Parker, when he shows that he really can't compete with Fury, he's just able to knock him down a couple of times. But if you watch the fight, he was behind all the time. And the thing is, you know, I remember somebody said that he was holding his own against Zhang until he got knocked out, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. If you watch the fight, Zhang was filling him out. Zhang was looking at what worked. Zhang was looking at the time and the move. Okay, Zhang was processing everything. And basically, like the first 2 rounds, he was moving backwards, throwing his jab. Zhang starts to break him down. He starts to find out how to get in. He starts to get it to nullify that jab. He starts to, you know, he's looking at the patterns like, okay, he throws this, then he throws that. Okay, he throws this and he leans his head that. Okay, and he's processing all of this. So it was just a matter of time. And like when he threw that, I forgot what Wilder threw, and Zhang he threw that jab, and Zhang just turned. You see, that's the punches coming, he just turned. And as he's turning, he's throwing his right hook over that. Bam! Caught him right in his nose. Spent him around. He's trying to talk to the referee. So, yeah. And the bottom line is, the fights that Deontay has lost, he's not even competitive in these fights. So, you know, he's talking so confident. He claimed that he was injured. Now he's healed. Okay, then fight Jarell Miller. Yeah, then fight Jarell Miller. Stop telling anybody what you can do. Stop telling anybody all these stories. Stop, you know, jumping in front of a camera telling anybody about your personal business and how money was stolen from you, all this stuff that you're doing, and focus on who's the next opponent. Otherwise, you're just going to be a guy looking for pity, trying to do little docu-series and little things that anything outside of boxing that pretty much is like, please feel bad for me. I want y'all to feel my pain. Hey, listen, I went through some shit. Yeah, you know, get it together, man. You know, you should have been punched Jarell in his mouth. All that shit he done said about you and called you all types of pussies and fucked your bitch and all this stuff. And you over here talking about because of his behavior, his mouth. That's why you won't fight him. Like you're giving him an opportunity. You're not in any position to give anybody opportunities. All right, right now you're basically shit. Jarell Miller's in way better shape than you in the rankings and shit. You wouldn't even fight Pero. That's the thing about Wilder. This guy Pero, you know, Wilder won't even fight a guy that you know on that level. You just fought a guy ranked 238. Then you just fought old washed up Chisora. I know why you fought Chisora. That's why I picked a guy like Chisora, Dillian White, and Joe Joyce. Like I said, because y'all know that they're all washed up, and he's washed up. But he had a little more left in the tank than Derek Chisora, and that's the whole point of what I'm saying. That's what he needs to stick to. But if he does let his ego get the best of him, you Wilder fans can kiss y'all black asses goodbye as far as yelling bomb squad watching him come to the ring again. Because at that point, and against you know, to be in a meaningful fight, nah, it's over. It's over. He can't afford another loss. Anyways, that's my thoughts on that. Catch you guys on the next video. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hair to people. Talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Y'all think he'll take the fight or no?